like people interpreted the issue of the hustler nation to mean there will be kind of a takeover from the rich, or the poor are going to take what the rich have, or did people understand what he meant?
This was very, very straightforward. What Ruto was campaigning on was saying that for the first time, you people who have been selling vegetables, you will be on the dinner table with me, seated on the dinner table. Mimi nikikugawia hii, mimi nawagawia hii, wewe unachukua hii, wewe unachukua hii, wewe unachukua hii. So far, he has not brought them to the dinner table. They are still down here. And so far, he has not shown that he has got a proper plan in elevating the people in the informal sector to a level that they anticipated. If you interrogate the mamambogas today about William Ruto's leadership, they'll tell you otherwise. Anyway, Mboro, we can go on and on and on. I want you to end this show. Yes. And because we have a morning to
maybe Ashley has something to say before I give my submission.
Ashley.
Oh, hey, I don't have much to say because I wish Ruto would have kept his promise on the things that he said he would do. He said that he would itakuwa bottom up. He will look after the hustler, and now they're telling us it will take 2 years. And I feel like they can do more now if he asks his people, the leaders, to tighten their belts so that they can take some of what they have and give to the people at the bottom that are currently struggling. Like when he went to this discussion with the African AU, he was saying that he solved the issue. I think there's some issue they were solving of a certain country, and they did not go to the Western world to borrow money. They used money from Kenya. So Kenya does have money. And he was saying we as Africans should use our money. And he was saying it's possible, it's doable. So yeah, it is doable. What I'm feeling is that he doesn't feel the emergence or the need or that heavy weight that some parents are not able to take their children to school or even provide the food, and he's not addressing those issues. Those seem minor to him, and to those parents he's saying to tighten their belts, and then he's doing bigger things that, like when going to another country to provide aid, Kenyan aid, well, people in our own countries are suffering. I think the priority should be the people in the country, especially when it comes to basic needs. I feel in that area, he is out of touch. So I wish he tried to keep to his promise as much as possible, to where we see that he's trying. We don't see that he's trying. And that is why some people are joining the maandamanos. Not because they are on that side, but because they feel like they were lied to. And then when they get there, they start telling us, oh, it will take time, but then they have money to buy cars. Well, they can stay with the old cars. They have money to open offices for their spouses. They have money to go on these trips when they can cut those trips to a minimum, to where need be, and stuff like that. So that's open to debate, but perception is very important. So I know I talk for a particular demographic who see the things that the way they are running as from my point of view. Also on the terms of security, I feel the little man is not protected in Kenya. It is hard for a normal person to access security or police when they need them. When you have an issue, when you go to the police station, they tell you to pay to fuel their cars. Well, they are paid tax money. Those cars are supposed to have fuel. It is not the work of the citizen to put gas or petrol in the vehicles of the police in order for the police to come and serve you. Ikisema ni utumishi kwa wote, the government should fuel their cars. And if the police are asking for money to fuel the cars, the government should ask people to report those police stations and those encounters they have with the police where the police are forcing them to give them money in order for them to come and address their issues, because that means if you have no money, then you are left there without being addressed. So there are so many things, that small things that can be done, and they are not being done. So that bottom up was just, now there is no longer, that song is gone. Now it is, they are addressing positions. Now we want to put the 2/3 gender rule. We want to give money to Uhuru, who can wait. We want to give money to political parties who can wait, while we make sure that all kids who want to go to school are back to school. So anyway, on what you guys were talking about them saying, again, I like to talk, me, I'm not on Uhuru's side. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
It says, thank you for watching. Is it gone? Is it, it's still live? Okay, when I think even Azimio is not sincere. And I know earlier on you were talking about how people say that Raila controls half the country. He does not control half the country. He controls half the electorate that went to vote. Because we know that 8 million people, registered voters, did not go to vote. So if we divide by 1/3, he controls 1/3, and Ruto controls 1/3, and then 1/3 did not go to vote. So that is the silent majority, and that's where I belong. And sometimes I look like I'm on one side or on the other side, but me, I'm more for the people and what services we can get. We can't be perfect, but we can try to where we are not desperate. Like in this situation we are seeing in the massacre. If the police were quick to serve the people, even though there were deaths, there wouldn't be this many. The ball was dropped on so many levels and is still being dropped today. If the families of the victims are coming online to ask for funds so that they can travel there, that is something the government should have already decided to do. And in one of the interviews, I heard them say that even the leaders in those regions have not visited the place, nor have they offered help. So even though they dropped the ball, they haven't tried to help now. That's the last time I heard. I don't know whether now they are helping, but I think the government should have stepped in full force to make sure they bring all the resources and make sure that every family that is missing a loved one has some sort of way to go to their governors or to their MCA, be able to be funded to go and look for their people, that some of them will not go because they don't have money, or they have to come online to ask in a country that there is government, in a country where the government has failed them. I think they need to be taken care of by the government. So the last point is, when we talk about that Ruto is taking us to the dark days, that is dishonest. Because I was looking online and I saw that on February 25th, 2022, Jubilee signed cooperation agreements with various political parties ahead of the National Delegation Convention meeting, the NDC. And they signed this agreement in order to make Jubilee strong so that they could make sure that Raila was going to be president. Now, PAA party patron Amason Kingi signed a pact with Jubilee in his quest to bring the Coast region to the national political bargaining table. Other parties that signed the agreement included PNU, UPA, UPIA, and KUP. These are the parties that now have defected to the other side. So if you say that Ruto is taking us back to the dark days, how comes Raila did not speak when Uhuru was signing these people to his party? Because even he was trying to to take us back to the dark days. So I wish there was more honesty in our party. So it doesn't hold water. And I can see if Amason Kingi's reason for signing was I think he said he wanted to make sure that the coast addressed the land issue. So when the government of Ruto came in, no wonder he changed sides, because he still wants to be able to address the land issue. Then the other thing you guys talked about is the election. My personal opinion is that both sides cheated. And because, like Babu Owino said, that the 4 were put there, walisema tukaambiwa tulete waine. So as Azimio, waliambiwa walete waine. So there already it's cheating, because those 4 people were supposed to come and favor them, because walitaka kutoa Chebukati, but they were assured that Chebukati was okay. All they needed to do is to bring 4 IEBC officials. So already we know that the 4 were partisan. And that is from the testimony of Babu Owino. And there's a clip that supports that. I like to try and base my opinion most of the time on what I have watched, and was something I can say, this is where I'm getting that information from. So according to me, the 4 were partisan. And for that reason, they actually need to stay very far away from IEBC, because we need to try as much as possible to put people who are non-partisan in those seats. The other thing is that in order for an election, remember in 2017, they ruled in court that the election is not a one-day event, it is a process. So when we look at this election, it wasn't free and fair. And why do I say it wasn't free and fair? Because 1, there was lack of electoral balance and equality. There was lack of adherence to the rule of law. There was an arbitrary ban of candidates and also disqualification of opposition candidates. Remember, some people were refused to vie for no reason for the presidency. There was electoral campaign marked by widespread use of state funds. We know Azimio was largely funded by the government. And that's one of the rules, that you're not supposed to be funded by the government. We also know there was disproportionate amount of favorable coverage of Azimio in the media channels, which is also against the provisions, the adherence to the election laws. So when they say that the election was stolen from them, they also committed some election crimes. So, you know, the rule of equity. You can't come to the table to ask for justice when you also are guilty. So in this case, I think they should just learn from it and then work on making 2027 be successful. Right now, we don't need to be saying that we need to go back, because even like, I don't know whether Kenya has the statute of limitation. The statute of limitation of disputing the election has passed for a reason. Because if we did this, then when will we ever run the country? At this point, even let's assume it is true that the election was stolen. Already, Ruto has been chosen. Is it really in the public interest, or even in the public interest and even in the security of the country at this time to look into that? It is not. It is not. So what we can do is learn from this, sit down and work on how we are going to make sure that 2027 will be more verifiable, will be more free, and will be more fair. That is my conclusion.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashley, for a good submission. Mzalendo, before I make my submission,